Hi, my name is Jackie Robinson, born on January 31st, 1919. I was the first black Major League Baseball player. Here I am in St. Petersburg, Florida on 22nd Street South, also known as the Deuces. Did you know that professional black baseball players stayed in these apartments during spring training because they weren't allowed to stay in the same place as their white teammates? Come on, let's go for a walk down the street. Here's the Royal Theater. Pretty cool, huh? In the early 1900s, this was a blacks-only theater because they were not allowed to go to the white movie theaters downtown. Let's look across the street. Mercy Hospital, an important place on 22nd Street also. It was the blacks-only hospital. African Americans used to say that Mercy Hospital took you from the crib to the grave. It was because of freedom of speech that we were able to make these blacks-only places a thing of the past.
Hi, I am Harry T. Moore, born November 18, 1905. Unfortunately, I died when I was 44 because some people didn't agree with what I said or did. I fought for equal pay for African American teachers and protested against segregated schools. Hi, I am Alora, and here is Perkins Elementary where I attend school. It used to be a blacks only until the Civil Rights Movement helped to integrate schools. None of this would have been possible without the power of the freedom of speech and the people like civil rights leader Harry T. Moore.
Hi, I am Rosa Parks. Born February the 4th, 1913, I am best known for not giving up my seat for a white man. Here we are at a bus stop. Did you know that Charles Kinsey C.K. Steele could be called the Rosa Parks of Florida? He helped end segregation in Tallahassee bus system. Even though he was arrested, he never gave up using his freedom of speech, and he never showed hatred towards others.
As I, Martin Luther King, said, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Freedom of speech is having the right to speak your mind without having to get beat up. During the civil rights movement, people stood up for their right using freedom of speech and nonviolent protest, even though this put their lives at risk. People wanted to be treated fairly, go wherever they want, say whatever they want, and be friends with whoever they want, without fear of being beaten or mistreated or not being able to say what they believe. Freedom of speech is not a freedom we should take for granted.
Freedom of speech is not a freedom we should take for granted.
I tried to protect my La Famille, but that did not work. He all got prosecuted for killing. I am very sad.
How did you escape?
We started on the ships coming over to Florida. We hardly had any food, and we were cold and shivering. The whole time we were so seasick.
We had a hard time. I could barely sleep with my baby. The waves were crashing over the decks and swaying side to side.
We are still looking for a place in Florida where we can play to our God the way we want. I am hungry now and sad and tired. I don't know what to do. My father has to look for aliment in the woods. The Indians have helped us, mainly the Timucua Indians.
We cry because my family was so unhappy not finding freedom of worship here in Florida. We built this Fort Caroline to live in. This was very scary and not fun. We dug, we cut, we sawed wood to build our fort. It was hard work cutting down all those trees to build our houses. We built our walls out of the dirt that we cut up from the trees.
We traded things like knives and combs to get food like corn and beans from the Timucua Indians.
Spain did not like the French living in the Fort Caroline, so the King of Spain sent Pedro Menendez to get the French out. The English and French settlers were fighting and killing each other. The Spanish defeated the French and built a new fort named St. Augustine.
So what can we learn from what you have lived through in Fort Caroline, wanting to look for freedom or worship?
We are glad that the French and Spanish became friends many years later. It is the only way to make the world better. Thank you, Javante, for coming back in time to tell us that America does have freedom of worship in their laws and that people like us can worship the way they want to in 2013. Even though we did not have freedom of worship when we arrived on your shores of Florida.
You are welcome, and thank you for your time. I have to return to my time machine back to 2013.
Say hello to all of the people on planet Earth in 2013. Bye!
Bye. Peace.
Battle for Florida, freedom from war.
This is how it happened.
I love being part of the Seminole tribe for this land of freedom. I am with the United States, and you are on my land, and I'm here to take it.
What do you mean, your land? This is our land. We were here first.
This means war.
Attack!
After the United States got Florida from Spain, it began to force the Seminoles to move away from their land. The American government told the Seminoles to sign the Treaty of Payne's Landing and move them to Oklahoma. Some Seminoles decided not to sign and went and hid in the Everglades.
It's time to prepare our attack. Get the weapons ready because the Americans are coming to enforce the treaty.
But Chief McAdopey, we're not strong enough to fight them off.
As Major Francis Dade marched toward the Everglades, 180 Seminole warriors attacked the army. Only one American survived the ambush. Osceola, leading less than 3,000 Seminoles, were able to defeat 4 U.S. generals and more than 30,000 American troops.
Now we have an advantage over the Seminoles because we captured Chief Osceola. It was a great idea to trick Osceola to come in for talks of peace, then we throw him in jail. What was that? Chief, I know what people are trying to do to us.
Well, what? Spit it out.
They're going to try to talk peace with us and they're going to throw us in jail. This war has to end. They already captured our leader.
We cannot let that happen.
In 1842, an ending to the war arrived. Though no peace treaty was ever signed, most Seminoles did end up moving to the reservations in Oklahoma.
In 1670, English colonists settled in South Carolina, bringing African slaves. The slaves were forced to do work. Enslaved Africans started escaping from British Carolina to Spanish Florida.
Where are you going?
I'm running away to Florida.
But it's very dangerous to get there.
I know, but I want to become free. Come with me.
Yes, I will.
In 1687, the first group of Africans reached St. Augustine, Florida. You may only be free only if you become Catholic.
Africans could only be free if they followed the Catholic beliefs. They were forced to become Catholic. I am very disappointed. I burned all the buildings and homes here in the town of St. Augustine, but did not get to take over the fort. I must return to Carolina.
In 1738, Africans built a town and a fort 2 miles north of St. Augustine. The fort was named Fort Mose. It was the first free black community in what is now United States.
I'm Captain Francisco Menendez. I was a slave in South Carolina. I escaped and went to St. Augustine where I was free. I was appointed captain of the French black military at Fort Mose.
When a British attack destroyed the fort, Africans later rebuilt it. A new fort lasted until the British gained control over Florida in 1763. Then the people on Fort Mose moved to Cuba along with other Spanish colonists.